Otis Jackson here with Money on the Street. I've got a special guest here with me, my partner, my friend, and author, as well as investor, Brian Offner.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Now, I brought Brian on because along with being my partner in many things, but he's also in the real estate space. And one of the things that he's going to speak to us about today is Airbnb, the Airbnb space. So,
yeah, I'm excited about it. It's something that, as far as adding to your portfolio, it's definitely on that single family, something I'm a big fan of. I'm not a huge fan of a long-term renter in a single family, but Airbnb I am. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
So with Airbnb, would you apply the same principles to the long-term rental space, or does it, from your perspective, when you're looking at an Airbnb, how does it necessarily change?
Yeah, it actually changes quite a bit compared to, let's say, a multifamily, because in most cases with single family, multifamily, when you're looking to buy, flip, whatever, or hold, you're looking to create that equity position. So you're looking for distressed property. But when you're looking at Airbnbs, I'm pretty much looking at buying cash flow. So not so much looking at the property from trying to get a discount. It's actually quite the opposite. There's some areas like in the Poconos where the values have been driven up because you are buying cash flow. So a house like that normally would sell for $450, you would pay $525 for it.
Gotcha.
Where a person buying it as their second home doesn't want to pay $525, but the investors will come in and will look at it and go, all right, this spits off $109,000, my carrying cost, blah, blah, blah. It makes sense to buy it at $525. So yeah, with flip properties, you're looking at how much equity can I get discounted to create that?
To create it, right.
And then in Airbnb, you're more looking at the cash flow, 2 years P&L, and
so you're looking, in other words, you're looking at something that's turnkey, ready to go.
Correct.
With little investment, to run it.
Yeah, and there's no, that's me. Like, so but there are people that will look for, diamonds in the rough in Airbnb neighborhoods. Can you go in and buy a 3-bedroom that's distressed, add a 4th bedroom, spend some money and make it work? Yes. Right. But, for the most part, I would be looking at something either new construction or turnkey that's already spitting off, money.
Okay. Now, I know, we talked a little bit about it. With some of your Airbnb properties, how do you necessarily handle the management of it?
Yeah, I mean, there's two parts, really. The biggest thing is booking and managing the customer service experience of the booking.
Right.
And then cleaning and getting it ready for the next tenant. So my properties in Florida, I have property management that does that. Now you give up a little bit, 20% of the revenue goes to property management in those situations, but I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm okay with doing that. Where I literally just watch the Airbnb app. I watch the people being booked. I watch the money go in the bank account, and at the end of the month, I just pay out everybody, and you're good. Where in the Poconos, a lot of my clients, they'll manage it themselves here, where you're booking it. Maybe you run up, you have a cleaning lady to do it, go in and clean up after everybody. It's a job then. If you're thinking about managing your own, you are creating a job. And yes, there is more margin there. Just for me personally, with everything else we have going on, I don't have time to also do that. Right. So I find value in outsourcing that and paying a little bit so that I get more time back where I'm not managing. It's really, I think passive is what we talk about.
And I think that that's a really good business model, because ultimately you're letting the professionals handle it.
Yeah.
You're not trying to split your time with managing a property, then doing your other, investments and everything else. Okay.
Yeah, there's an opportunity. Like if that's somebody's thing, like if they're like, my personality is not that way,
Yeah.
but if someone is in that mentality and they like to manage and they have systems, and then if that was me, I'd be looking to turn my ability to efficiently manage my properties into a business.
Exactly.
And just help other people like myself that I go, look, that's your sweet spot. You're good at that. Cool. I'll pay you for it. Definitely a monetizing opportunity there. It's just not my lane. I'm
Right.
more of a front end.
Well,
sell it
you
guy.
know yourself.
Right.
You know
I'm
yourself.
not doing that back end stuff.
Where a lot of, I think, investors get into trouble is when they don't know themselves and they try to take on more than they really can handle.
Yeah, and honestly, at the end of the day, it's not the highest and best use of their time sometimes. Like I use the analogy like light and heavy. Like if it's light, it's right, you're going to do it, you'll give it 110%. If it becomes heavy for you, you're not going to do it, and you're not going to give it 110%. And that's ultimately where your business model will fail, is where you're responsible for doing heavy stuff, but you're not doing it because it's heavy.
Right.
Just find the person, like I said, property management for me is heavy, but I found someone that it's light to them. So I do the light on acquisitions, and then once you have property management that handles it, it's light, it's worth a couple bucks, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be, tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. It's like, just pay the people and go get another one.
Right.
Stack them.
So one of the things that I wanted to really pick your brain about is location. I mean, obviously we're in real estate and we realize location is one of the most important things when you're dealing with it. But, how does that really factor into your Airbnb?
Yeah.
When you're, looking for a property and making that decision as to, okay, I'm going to get this one or not.
Yeah. I mean, my decision-making process is, do I want to go there personally? So most of the Airbnbs, I'll get in locations or destinations that I personally want to go. So it's, let's say I liked Austin, Texas right now. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to look for something in Austin. I'm just going to check the cost, the going rate. Is it community? Is it HOA? Is it single family off the beaten path? Like, what's hot? What's the price? Do I want to go there? And then ultimately, I use a term like park money. So if you have money, you have capital sitting in your bank account, it's just parked there. So if I'm going to take some money and park it in Austin, park it in Sarasota, park it in the Poconos, what's that return? What's that money coming back? And then it also gives me a place to go enjoy with my family. So, I mean, that some people, there's three thought processes too with buying an Airbnb or buying, STR, as short-term rental. It doesn't always just have to be Airbnb, but that's what we call it. There's three ways that you're thinking of buying it. Like, one, I'm going to buy a second home and I'm not renting it. No one's living in it. That's kind of like
Just
second
my vacation home.
Right. And it's usually those type of places that you would think you would want to buy one of those homes is where you would look. The second one I'm going to buy it. I'm going to rent it to my friends and family and some people I know to help offset the carrying costs for the year and try to break even. That way, hey, I'm growing an asset and I'm not paying for it. And then the third is I'm going to rent the hell out of it as much as I can. I don't care if I don't ever get to go, but a couple times a year. So that's kind of where my mindset is when I'm definitely a 3 when it comes to, the properties and destinations where I would want to go with my family. And then you could just let the property management know the timeline you want to go down. They block it off. You go down. They put, your sheets on. You have your owner's closets. And then, boom, you go and then let it keep renting it.
Right.
And that's the name of the game. So,
one last thing. And I know that we talked about this a couple of days ago, as a matter of fact, but when you're let's say you find the property, right? Yep. You nailed it down. You found the location. You found the perfect property. How important are the amenities to you?
That's I was going to bring that up earlier, but I know we talk about it. That's probably, and when you have a good property manager, they're going to let you know what amenities are hot in that area. For instance, Poconos with, a wet bar down the basement, some video games, and a fire pit, hot tub. Like, you just got to know your area and what's hot. So yeah, we'll definitely look at like minimal 4 bedrooms because I like to appeal to the 2-family approach too. That's how you get a higher nightly rate, is if you can go 4 bedrooms, 2 families, amenities for the kids and the adults, pool table, arcade, and then hot tub, fire pit. I mean, those are things you could buy a place that's already cash flowing, go a year, stack the profit, and then reinvest it in amenities for a year or 2 and 3. So that's kind of, unless you're liquid enough to do it right out the gate, which a lot of my buyers will take recommendations on stuff we should do, and it's typically the foosball table, some bar stuff, and the hot tub is usually the highest ticket item.
Right.
But if you could pull the trigger on that, you're going to drive up your nightly rate and definitely increase your booking percentage because of how nice it is.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah, it's super important. The amenities are, for sure, super, super important.
Okay. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking a couple minutes to sit down and talk to us. Also, you got a book that just came out.
I do.
You want to tell us a little bit about Beyond Existing?
Yeah. So Beyond Existing, it's attacking your potential in business, family, and personal health. I talked a little bit about it earlier when I talked about the light versus heavy analogy. Now, it's just a book where it's not a book where I'm saying like, hey, I've got it all figured out, and read the book and you'll be awesome like me. It's actually quite the opposite. It's more of like, these are the areas that I think if you're a business owner and you have a family and you have kids and you're trying to stay healthy and take care of yourself, it's really just that journey and that focus. Each chapter has kind of like a kind of a journal you can go along and do in the book to help you give some areas of focus. And it's a type of book I wanted you to be able to like be motivated by, do your thing and then come back to it and be like, all right, I'm gonna grab another nugget out of here and implement it. So it's just something I do every day. It's like I try to focus on working out, which we do in the morning, 8:30 to 9:30 every day. We're in here for business the rest of the day, and then spend time with my family. We talk about deposits and stuff, but yeah, man, it's been something I wanted to put out for a while, and then we finally got it. It took a little over a year of writing, and it's available on Amazon. You can go just type in Brian Offner on Amazon and you'll see it. And I promise you it's worth the investment.
It is. It is. It's a great read. And it really gives you a perspective on a work-life balance. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Otis. I appreciate it.
And we'll see you on the next episode.
Take care.